Hello and welcome out to this episode of Outbreak Gamers. I'm your host, David Anthony. WebDave's my gamer tag, and I am very pleased to have with me today Infinite Umbra. Infinite Umbra, what's up, buddy?
Oh man, not much, WebDave, man. I'm just excited to be here to chop it up with you today, brother. We said we'd be doing some singing today. You'll be leading the choir, so I'm.
Well, I don't know about that. We do want to keep the audience, but we're definitely going to get into your singing prowess as well. We
Oh,
definitely got to cover all the bases, you know.
oh, absolutely. You got
All
me in the
right.
background singing, right? That's all that
Uh,
matters.
whatever it takes.
All right.
You're gonna do my new intro, right? Yeah. Oh, probably some contracts I wanted to sign for that, right?
Right,
I'm
right,
sure.
right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just in case any
Oh,
360 deals, things of that
yeah,
nature.
exactly. In perpetuity.
Right.
Oh goodness. Well, buddy, I'm really excited that you're here. I've been watching several shows that you've been on, and I wouldn't say necessarily you're an up and comer, but I mean but you're getting more and more established is what I would say because you've been around a little bit,
Hmm.
and you're man, the show you do with Risket and Doom Cutie
Hmm.
is amazing,
Yeah.
and I love that. That's really first got exposed to you. And then every now and again you break out a little song, so we got to find out more about that too. And then luckily you became a panel member with Boom
Right.
on one of his on the Xbox Factor podcast, and
Hmm.
so I was like, man, I got to get you on, man. We got to find out more about the man.
Yeah, brother, absolutely. And I appreciate you reaching out to me because I'm sitting there talking with Boom and them. You're like, hey, hit me up on DM me. I'm like, oh, hey, all right. I know you've interviewed Doom Cutie before, and
Hmm.
I believe you've had. I think you had Risk It
I
as well, right?
have, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, it's been a minute, but I do remember that. So I know you had those two, and we also have, of course, my brother Jedi Knight Peter, who
Right, right.
yeah, who's part of the podcast with us. And sometimes, man, we'll start up the podcast before we get in there. We're in the background in the back room singing. It'll be myself,
Nice.
it'll be Cutie, it'll be Jedi, and Risk it'll jump in here and there and try to silence us. But yeah,
That's so funny. That's awesome, dude. That is awesome. Well, I'm definitely gonna have to reach out to Jedi at some point.
yeah,
And see what we can get him on here because, like I said, I like to find out about the interesting people that are in this community, and ones that have amazing hidden talents. Just what I'm saying.
absolutely.
So we want to get that out there. So
I, Jedi's hidden talent will probably be that he cooks the best steaks. He's a steak man. So
nice,
yeah,
nice, nice. I'll tell him how I like mine.
there you go.
There you go. Awesome, awesome. Well, Umbra, let's kind of get things started. Kind of the way I like to start things here, just to kind of maybe a little kind of let you take it whatever direction you want to, but
Mhm.
I'd like to maybe find out about maybe either your first job you've ever had or your schooling. However that works, because some people do a lot of
Okay.
schooling, not so much working, and some people are workaholics.
Yeah.
So let's find out a little bit about your I guess your work history, as it
Well,
were.
far as my first job ever, it's
Hmm.
a mixture because I draw as well, right? So I'm an artist.
Nice.
Although I haven't drawn as much as I used to,
Hmm.
um, I focus on a lot of different things. So my thing has always been a realistic style. I can actually draw you, for instance, if I wanted to, right?
Nice.
It's just been a while, man, because I've just been so focused on gaming and things of that nature and just life.
Right.
But I had a job with what was called Gallery 37 at the time, um, here in Chicago,
Hmm.
and that focused on having us actually work in the arts and stuff like that, and with people and things of that nature, and of course the good old American McDonald's. So I had both jobs at the
Yep.
start of in high school. Those were my first jobs.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that's a lot of people. You got to start somewhere. Fast food is definitely a place to
Absolutely,
start. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Now, I guess with your with your art, I mean, was that something that you did you go to school for like as far as I guess your education? Did you further it anyway, or like maybe in high school or so?
Mhm.
Did you would you any chorus or art class, those kind of things?
I did eventually. talk my mother and my grandmother into paying for me an art course.
Nice.
It was with the school of, I forgot the gentleman's name, but he was the I believe the creator of Peanuts. So Charles was a Schultz.
Charles Schultz, yes.
He has an art school.
Wow.
So they would like send you a course out to your home,
Mhm.
and you would draw it on this like pamphlet, the art or whatever, and send it back. And then
Yeah,
from there, they would actually reach out to you with the, some contact to come out to your house. And they did that. And they came out and assessed me with pictures I would have to draw for them on the spot. And then I enrolled into that for about a year. So,
very cool.
yep, that was really interesting. And it's crazy though, because it's like hindsight is a thing, man. And it feels
Mhm,
like whenever you look back, you wish like, man, I wish I would have stuck to doing this one thing.
mhm,
And that's one of those regrets I believe I have, is with that. It's like didn't really stick with it as much as I should have. But other than that, I think my art style has always been just something I grew to learn over time, just from seeing other people and seeing things I like,
mhm.
and kind of building my own style from it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Did you happen to design your logo? Do that?
I did. I helped design it. I put up how I wanted it put together,
Mhm.
and then an artist actually contacted me, one of our starving artists out here, and on
Nice.
Twitter. And from there, I was like, you know what, this is what I want done. I got to have the U. I got to have the infinite symbol in some
Mhm.
way. And I showed them how I wanted it positioned and such, and they went from there. And then
It
I
looks
had a
really good.
thank you, brother. Yeah, I had a good buddy of mine. His mother, believe it or not, actually dabbles into graphic design and such, and she sharpened it up for me nice and HD. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good. Well, I know when you send it to me, remove the background to, so I could pop it in as as an overlay
oh yeah, you did a
on the
good job with
thumbnail.
that. Yeah,
Well, thanks.
yeah.
Well,
Risk and
you
them
know.
saw it. They said, "Oh, he did a good job with that."
Well, it's one of those things where I'm as old as dirt, so Photoshop when it first started, and I've been playing with. I am nowhere any kind of like Photoshop expert, but I've
Yeah.
been doing it for so long
Hmm.
that I know my way around pretty much most things. I can do enough to to do all the artwork that's that you see in front of you as far as the borders and all that kind of stuff. It's just simple
Nice.
things, and but it's just it gets the job done, and I don't have to piece out for it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, and I've had several people like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" Like, sure, I don't mind.
Nice.
It's fun for me, as long as I don't if if I don't have any kind of like pressure on me,
Mm.
like, then I'm like, I'll do it, no problem. So,
Yeah, it's when
yeah,
the pressure kicks in. It's like, look, man, I got some things to do.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't,
exactly,
I don't know how
exactly,
much I can dedicate to this.
right, exactly. Well, you had said something about like, you could draw me, and I'm like, well, you're gonna need a pretty big piece of paper.
Well, it's all how you approach it, right? You know what I mean? Like if
Uh,
I could, for instance, it's a scale of things. If I drew you in
right.
a relative smaller scale, and then I can get the whole image if you would background and everything else, it's all about
That's
that.
funny. That's funny. I just
Yeah,
meant that I'm fat.
I know, brother. I was trying to build you up. You're big boned. Let's just
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's it. Sissy, you guys, sissy. Oh goodness, but yeah, like on the here, I'll pop this up real quick. But
Yeah.
uh, like for me, I submitted a picture and had guy sent back this thing, and when I saw it, I was just like, oh god, it looks so fat. It's like, oh well, damn Dave, you are fat. So
No, it's
that's
good.
why I went with it. Like well, that's pretty realistic.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, it's a nice image actually, though. It's really
Well,
dope.
thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. I know it's amazing when you can do and you can clean up blemishes and acne, and
Yeah, yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
kidding. War wounds and scars.
Oh, hey, they do it all
Uh,
day on Instagram, these models. There's nothing wrong with us touching ourselves up here and there.
well, no, look at you looking pretty handsome right there. I'm
Ah,
just
thank you,
saying,
brother. Thank you,
I
brother.
am, like I said, I know, there'd be a lot of people out there be like, where's his camera at? He needs to have his camera on.
Yeah, well, that's all right. You all can hit me up in my DMs. We can talk about
Yeah,
this.
yeah, there we go. Private viewing only, right? There we go.
Right,
Oh
exactly.
goodness, someone get us all in trouble. I'm just kidding. All right. Well, let's excuse me, I don't want to cough in your ear. So let's get into I guess your gaming Like, what was your first experience with gaming? Was it, consoles, PC? What where did you start with gaming? Because obviously, it's come a long way for you. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been gaming for a good 30 plus years now, right?
right, wow.
So, because I had just turned 40 this year, February the 4th, and Aquarius. Just have to throw that out there. Best
It's all right.
sign in the zodiac.
Leo
But
here, just saying.
oh yeah, well, Leo's second. That's my mother's sign.
Fair enough. I'm
Yeah,
just playing with you,
but yeah, man, I watched my uncles growing up playing the game. So they had things from the Atari 2600 into the Nintendo and on and on. My
hmm
first actual time playing a game was with the Nintendo, where I actually, really got my understanding of the mechanics of gaming and such, and my love for it. So, yeah, Mario, a Duck Hunt, and what was it, clay shooting, and all those types of things that come in that one game package.
Oh
That was
yes.
that was the beginning right there for me, and I haven't looked back. And I think from there, I just had a really diverse, I guess, understanding of gaming from then. I mean, played tons of games on Nintendo,
hmm
moved on to Sega, moved on to the Super Nintendo, the 64,
hmm
and so on and so forth. And man, it's just been gaming has just been an incredible part of my life. I don't know if I had to start over and do anything else. I just don't know that I would want to do anything other than have gaming be a part of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I couldn't imagine not having that type of entertainment and love for
hmm
something like this. So yeah, and eventually I grew into loving the Xbox because I was a big fan of the Dreamcast.
Me too.
Yeah, man, one of my favorite all time favorite consoles, and and it was pretty clear to me, at least, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Xbox guys feel this way. It felt like the Xbox, the OG Xbox, felt like a continuation in a sense of the Dreamcast. It even
hmm
had the four ports and things like that, as plug in the controllers and such, and even a similar controller size, if not
Yeah.
comfortability. But it was the Duke was close in a way to the Dreamcast controller,
Yep.
even with the plug-ins you could put in a way.
Yep.
So yeah, it just kind of pulled me into that. And I mean, I had everything, man. I stood in line for the PS2 and all that. And this is how here in the freezing cold of Chicago, where people would
Wow.
probably try to rob you after you got it. So that's my love for gaming. So yeah, man, and just kind of grew with gaming from there and just my understanding of it. And now I've been blessed enough to come across so many great community people like yourself where I
Thank
can
you.
sit here and talk shop about gaming, and it's
hmm
it's just a joy, honestly.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, man, I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
Awesome. It's awesome. So, I guess with your, with the gaming and the Xbox, that comes with all of us pretty much the infinite gamer tag, as it were.
Mhm.
So how did you, come up with, well, with Infinite Umbra? What's that originate from?
So it's interesting. Like my gamer tag itself is Super Havoc, right?
Riggs, right. Okay. Yeah. Super Havoc. That's right. I'll have
And
that in the description below too.
I
People can have
appreciate it. And originally in the OG Xbox, it was Havoc, but I could not remember my password.
Oh,
So
no.
I had to move to something else. So it was like, okay, Super Havoc, like Super Nintendo. Like,
Yeah.
that was the Nintendo part of me right there that kicked in.
Mhm.
So from there, originally I was going to use, actually, I think I did use Super Havoc going on Twitter, but I was a little younger and more naive. So I would get into debates with fanboys a lot of the times, PlayStation fanboys, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And if you have seen anything on Twitter, you know how toxic it can get if you delve into that. And I fell for the trap. And
Goodness.
they got me hot and heated. I said a few things, got that account suspended. That was over with. I was like,
Oop.
so that was gone. And then I
Yeah.
I eventually moved on to the Umbra part. So Umbra, the actual name Umbra, is the fully shaded inner region of a shadow, right? Cast by an opaque object, like in an area of the moon. So,
Right.
and I use that as a play on darkness, on blackness, because
Nice.
I'm a black man So
Hmm.
I kind of used it in that way. And I thought it just sounded really cool. So at
It
first it
does.
was Eternal Umbra. And then I moved to Infinite Umbra.
Love
And
it.
so that's just a play on eternity and forever, I guess. And if this would have got it taken away, I'd have been forever Umbra. I don't know. I
Right,
don't know.
right. That's so funny.
Indefinite
Uh,
Umbra. I don't know.
yeah. Oh, well, I tell you, I like it, and now that you've explained it, I like it even more, man, because it seems that it has a really nice carry of weight to it. I like that.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome, dude.
it's just a play on, like I said, blackness and such too. It's I'm proud. I'm proud to be who I am, you know.
Well, sure.
And
Heck
then,
yeah.
yeah, man, and I'm infinitely going to be that thing, you know.
Hmm.
And I think that when you just look at it, even just optically, it just sounds right in the gaming world to me. So
Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Well, and then, and then guess with Halo Infinite
absolutely. Yeah,
and I know there's been a few times I've heard Risk It with his show,
yeah,
and you'll make the comment goes, everybody knows this is really my show because
yeah,
my name's in the title.
yeah, yeah. I know he doesn't like it, but I'm like, yeah, well, let's just be real. The
Yeah.
infinite branding is going to stick with me somehow, you know, secretly it's
That's so
mine.
funny. That's so
Yeah, and I
funny.
met Risk. It's interesting how we all came across each other and all of that happened and unfolded. So
Hmm.
it seems like, you ever hear the question about do you believe in destiny and things of that kind of thing? And, I don't
Right,
want to get
right.
too dramatic, but it's funny how all of that coalesced and came together in a way, and
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was just heavy on spaces at the time. And lo and behold, here comes Risk It coming into these spaces. And we would have our talks, man. I mean, hours upon hours, all of us, and Risk It and myself as well. And we just hit it right off the bat, right then and there. So it's interesting how it all unfolded. But yeah, and then him and Jedi actually were talking about starting a podcast before that because they were like in a party chat talking about gaming and stuff like that. It was like, why don't we turn this into a podcast? And then I just so happened to meet him with that in that time frame, and we were talking gaming all the time, and he heard my voice. He heard, saw I was singing all the time in spaces and
Hmm.
cracking jokes or whatever it may be, and that I would draw a crowd. So it just made sense to say, hey, you know what, why don't we try to do something together too? So all three of us came together and went from there. And yeah, the rest is really history.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a great podcast. It really is.
Thank you.
And I know that the one of the newest member, I guess, is Doom Cutie,
Correct.
which is nice because it adds another element
Hmm.
to it, another perspective.
Yeah,
And she's talented, and she's adorable, and
she
she's
is.
and she's very after I interviewed her, I was just like I was blown away because she's so um I mean intelligent
She
is the
is.
best word, and articulate, and I was like, when I found out she was a teacher, I was like, that's so cool.
It made sense, right?
Exactly. Exactly,
Yeah,
really did. And yeah, I
she
told her, I
is.
said, I'm sure she's gonna have a lot of I want to be the teacher's pet kind of.
Yeah, I'm like, I brought
uh,
an apple for you, cutie.
yeah,
You want to
exactly,
take this?
exactly.
No worm.
It'd be better if you bought me some Game Pass cards.
Yeah,
Well,
right. Yeah, man. She's been a great addition to the show as well. And we're all learning each other more and more. And that's the
Mhm.
that's the interesting thing because the chemistry has to eventually start fittings and working together no matter what
Oh
you
yeah,
do.
exactly.
And yeah, she's learning along the way. We're learning along the way as well with her. And it's interesting, because we all come from so many different backgrounds and things like that.
Yeah.
So she has a very lighthearted kind of humor and stuff like that, and take on things. So sometimes a dastardly bastard like myself or Risk It or Jedi might say some things. She'll be like, guys,
Yeah.
that teacher part kicks in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And we're like, okay, let's go calm it down.
That's so funny. That's so
Yeah,
it's but and I like it too because there's been times when you guys have all gotten together and just like game played, like was
yeah.
it
With Halo and
yeah, Halo, and was it
yeah.
years that you guys have been
Mhm.
doing some too, or just Halo for now?
Well, we've done Halo. We've done a lot of things. Be
Right.
it Among Us,
Oh yeah,
Halo.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Gang Beast. We played a bit of that a while ago. And speaking of which, and
Hmm.
yeah, man, we're looking for more games of all of us to get into. Me and Pete and Jedi are doing the Ascent right now, and it's interesting too because it's good as a way to help build up that community, the Xbox community in a way.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah,
I've played with a ton of different guys through that, and it's just been a really good experience. And it's
yeah.
one of the things I really love about the Xbox community. Speaking of
Well,
that,
I'm thinking like you guys did like Redfall when it comes out. I think that would
oh
be
yeah,
awesome.
automatic. Yeah, we
Yeah,
already talked about it. So
sweet, sweet. Well, I'm
yeah.
looking forward to seeing that, and not even
Oh
come out
man,
yet.
yeah,
So
me
yeah,
too.
that'll be good. That'll be good.
Did you
That'll be
see the
good.
new 20 some odd minute work they showed behind the scenes and all
I
that?
did. Yes, it's
Looks
really coming
really
together. I think.
yeah, it looks really sharp, really smooth, really fluid. I'm liking it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Content and everything.
Hmm.
So let's kind of get into step back out of gaming just a touch. Don't worry, we're gonna get back into it. And
Oh
plus, some
yeah.
more about you, yeah, more about the show that how all that kind of got together and everything. But I guess you're singing.
Yeah.
So where did you were you in choir? Were you in school, or is it just your natural talent and have fun? You've been in bands? Well,
Just natural ability. And it's so interesting because it's like when I was younger, and I wish I had more of the mentality I have now. Like if I could
hmm
go back to the younger me and be like, hey, do this. Don't worry about other people, whatever, right?
right.
Maybe I would have really explored that into a furthering it into something even more than what I'm doing now. But at the time I was really, really shy, brother. And I was like, I didn't want to really sing in front of people like that. But after
hmm
I got to a certain point in life, um, I would say maybe high school is where it really opened me up into being more open. Like I'm an introvert by nature, but
hmm
like high school, I joined and I had got into football and things like that, and I guess a bit of the braggadocio, bravado, and all that kind of kicked in. So I got more confident,
Yeah.
ladies were looking at me. I started talking to the ladies. You know how it is. You start, as they say, you start to smell yourself, right? So confidence started to build more and more from that. Then
hmm
I did I did the dummy, as they would say, and I let my grades slip. So my mother took me out of that and put me into ROTC.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah. Oh,
ROTC helped build character for me too. It
oh,
built,
yes.
yeah, built a lot of strengths as far as that goes, and responsibility. So all that coalesced, but I actually never really got into singing in front of people really until I would say maybe my 18, 19, 20, something like that. And I just really started to really embrace singing. And it started in front of my family and then going from there into in front of other people.
Mhm,
And yeah, man, I love it. And so I've only gotten better with time. As anything, as you train yourself. And
mhm.
right now, I am in a band. I'm the lead singer of a band called Mopery, and we just recently created a Twitter account for that. By the way, I might have to start putting people on that. But yeah, we have some gigs coming up, and we've played out, we've practiced, created songs, and I never would have thought I would have been writing and creating a song.
Mhm.
It's
That's
just
awesome.
yeah, man. And I've only done make two myself. We have our writers, like our part of our band is, keyboard players, whatever it may be. They
Mhm,
kind of come up with a lot of the songs, but I have created some and I'm just proud of it. But I love
mhm.
it. I love it, man. I love singing. So
Well, it shows. Like we were talking in the green room beforehand, and Boom had to step away because he had received a phone call, and you guys were kind of wrapping things up at the time when it happened,
yeah.
and then you're just like, well, let me just think about it,
Yeah.
and you started singing, which was great, which was
Yeah.
great.
Hit
Yeah.
him with the old Frankie Blue
Uh,
Eyes.
uh,
Just a little
oh.
touch. Yeah, I
But
love it.
you can you give us just a little taste,
Of the,
of something?
you want some Frankie or what should I get?
Whatever you want, whatever you feel like you want to do.
Let me see here. What can I show off with? Um It'd be funny if I did something like some Backstreet. You are my fire. But let me think.
I love it.
Hmm. Let me think here.
Put him on the spot, folks.
Let me see. Frank Sinatra. Let me think of something really good. Hmm. You know what, Dave? I just thought about something.
Yeah.
Why don't you start us off,
Oh,
with your lead singing skills,
oh no, no,
and then
no,
I can jump
no,
in and back you up. No,
no.
I just want to
Mm.
see what you would say.
Oh, oh, I'd be like, it'd be like, well, this podcast is over. Oh, I did a little backup. I can play some drums. I can get them
Yeah.
right behind me there.
Well,
A little bass,
let me give you a
but other
little
than that,
something. So it's
okay.
as I sang on booms, I'll just do it here since it's pretty easy to remember. So it's fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Now, you wouldn't think that
It's
something
awesome.
so old and timeless like that would work, but man, you should see some of the women whose hearts melt when I hit them with some of that. Or some R&B. R&B is one of my favorites.
Dude, that's awesome. I love it. I love it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for doing that. I think you probably get off this and be like, man, can't believe you put me on the spot.
Oh no,
No, man,
trust
I
me,
really
I love it.
appreciate that.
I
That was
love
cool.
being put on the spot. Believe me, I'm not
Really?
shy at all to
Well,
do
no,
it.
I'm just kidding.
I'm all for it.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, like I said, man, I appreciate you doing that because, like I said, I think you have a great voice. I really
Thank you.
do. And I mean, obviously, you're we'll can't if you want to share it, we'll put that in your the Twitter link to your band. We'll put
Yep.
that in the show notes as well, if that's all
Yeah.
right with you. So,
Absolutely.
all right, so
After I get
people
off the
want to check
Spotify
that out. They
link.
could just scroll on down and they can get that and they can check out more about your band and hopefully get to hear some more of your music in the future. Look forward to it
Absolutely.
myself. So,
Absolutely. Would love it. And so interesting too how all of us came together in a band because, you
mhm.
know, I knew I met the drummer of our band through his wife, and his wife is the godmother of my nephews because
Mm.
she was the teacher of my sister. So we met all through that. It's very interesting how it all
Wow,
unfolded.
yeah.
Yeah, and went from there. And she knew I would sing all the time, so she was like, "Hey, why don't meet my husband?" Blah blah blah. And, they got a band, and they already were formed before me, but then I joined in, and we just started to mesh, man. And we sing rock, so it's rock led, but I felt like they threw in a few R&B type songs or songs with black artists for me. I was like, okay, this is because I'm black, right? But I'll take it.
Well, I mean, what do they say? You play to your strengths.
Absolutely. They threw in a
So,
few Stevie Wonders and such like that, and I hit
uh,
them off with the very superstitious. Oh yeah, I love it.
oh, there you go. Love me some Stevie
Writings on the
Wonder.
wall. Absolutely.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh, so we're gonna have to do a separate show sometime. Nothing but music. We're gonna have a little fun with
Oh, we'll
that.
be here all day. I'm
I
with
love
it.
it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for sharing, man. That's awesome. That is so awesome. And
Thank
it's not. I'm saying by the time this podcast is over, who knows? He may be singing the outro. We'll just have to see.
you. And join us at the Outbreak podcast. I don't know. Some jingle will come up with.
Yeah,
Right.
there we go. Oh goodness, goodness, I love it.
Outbreak. Got to go back to the 80s. Outbreak.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, can you tell I'm an '80s kid?
Yeah.
Woo.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Love the
man.
80s, man.
Yeah, that was my high school time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, man. I
Mm.
80s was like it's just one of the best decades though. Even even I was born in the 80s myself, but like it's something where if you when you look back, and I hate to be like it feels crazy to be like, man, you look back and because it's something when you're younger, you hear other older people may talk that way. Oh
Right.
man, I'll reminisce about the 60s or the 70s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's something that's incumbent on us that we do it too. But it's true
Yep.
because the 80s, it was such a crazy decade of good stuff, be it from pop culture, just pop culture wise. Is
Oh yeah.
yeah, music and movies wise, so
Oh yes.
almost untouchable.
Yeah. Some amazing classics and set us on the path that that the future is now on a lot of things. So
Yeah.
and some people like oh, about the hair and all that. It's like yeah, well, you
Hey.
know, I used to have long hair. I
Yeah,
used to have hair.
I
How's
did too. That's funny.
that?
I did too. Yeah, I had a
Shoot.
lot of hair. I had braids all the way down to like the bottom of my shoulders, just about. Yeah,
Wow. There you
yeah.
go. And like because I was born in the '60s.
Hmm.
Ooh. I'm old as
Hey,
dirt, as it were. So I'm an old guy, but
more wisdom. That's all it
is
is.
that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's what my wife says. You
She's just
just
trying to keep you
dumb.
humble. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah, humble. That's
Oh
it.
man.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Oh good.
So
That's fun.
I see in the background, I see some of the movie posters and such. I see what's the Black Widow to the far right over that way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
I
Yep.
see Thor,
Yep.
Batman.
Yep.
So I take it that you are also like a big connoisseur of not only just comic movies, but like maybe you're a comic fan as well.
Oh yes. Oh,
Me too,
definitely.
and I am as
Um.
well. Grew up on reading comics as well. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite issue, which a lot of people make fun of me for this, but I don't care. I don't care because I think I loved Marvel and all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
DC and stuff.
Hmm.
But what really cemented it was when the first Marvel Super Special came out, and that was had Kiss when they
Hmm.
made the issue with Kiss, and of course I was a kid.
Yeah.
My day, Kiss was he's like Kiss was awesome. My sister's got an album for like their birthday or whatever, Kiss, and they're like then it was like, but I'm the one that ended up borrowing it and playing it all the time, kind
Yeah.
of thing. Those guys are so cool, Like, it's hard to believe they're like in their 80s and it's still going. What the hell? Crazy. But
Hey.
we're wrapping things up finally. But yeah, but it's but it's the comic stuff like that. I still wish, and I'm probably the only one that even thinks this, but with all these cameos and stuff in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's like Kiss is actually, you know, their issue had, they fought like Doctor Doom and it's like what, So it's like, you gotta bring that stuff in, man. That'd be awesome.
Can
But
you
who
imagine that?
knows?
So they're kind of part of the canon in some ways.
It would
Curse you, Richards, and
exactly, exactly,
and
exactly.
Kiss. Yeah.
It's too funny. Yeah.
Yeah,
In fact,
man.
I did an interview just I guess the other day, which will air this Monday, but
Mhm.
people listening, they're like, it'll already be out by the time they hear this one.
Yeah.
I had was with Everborn Saga, and
Mm, that's my
I
man
had
right there. Good
my
guy.
Kiss t-shirt on that
Yeah.
had this for the cover from the Marvel super special. So,
Hmm.
and I don't know why, but I just kind of like that. But the movie posters, my always big fan of movies, all kinds. But my daughter, she is actually the manager of floor manager, I should say, of a Malco movie theater. So,
Nice.
needless to say, when old posters get pulled down, and I'm lucky enough that she brings me a few home.
Nice. That's the perks.
Oh man, I got so many posters that I can't even put up because I don't have room for them. But
Yeah.
and these
That's
sometimes
nice.
rotate around. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's dope, man. That's perfect, right? Fits right into what you need, your love for him and everything else.
Hmm.
So yeah, the
Definitely.
gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. See, so that's some of that knowledge right there. That's what I was telling you. It's the wisdom in play. You had the foresight to have a great daughter who would eventually go on to bring you great posters. It's works. It all coalesces, man. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you say
Exactly.
like is your favorite like comic movie though of all time? If you have to give a top one, two, three, or whatever.
Oh man, that's tough. Um, because I mean, I'm a big fan of The Crow,
Yeah.
which some
Brandon
people don't
Lee.
even know that was
Yeah,
based off a comic book.
they don't.
So
That's true.
you know, and even Red and Red 2 that was released with Bruce Willis.
Hmm.
That's based off comics,
True.
and those were I love those movies.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true. They were
so
a lot of these. There are others too. I think like Wanted. People didn't know that was from the comics.
right,
You
right,
know, so yeah, there are a lot. There are a lot. Um,
exactly.
yeah, but if I had to say myself, if I had to say like number one of all
Hmm.
time or top three, I know the typical answer would probably be something like, "Oh, The Dark Knight" or something like that, right?
Good movie. Yep.
But I would probably go with something like the more modern Marvel MCU movies that probably be like the Infinity War is the craziest you'll probably ever see, right? Infinity War
Yeah.
Endgame. But I've always had a soft spot in my heart for the 1989 Batman movie with Michael Keaton.
Yeah. That's
To me, that is my Batman right there.
same here.
You
Same
know,
here.
and
Uh,
Nicholson is my Joker. So yeah,
yeah.
it's
I'm
hard to
right there
get.
with you.
Yeah, hard to get out of it. Yeah, I remember just being a kid, man, being younger, and my mother had I didn't see it at the theaters, but she took me to a friend's house for a girlfriend of hers, and they were talking like, oh, just put on this movie for him, and they put on Batman, and I'm like, well, and I already knew of the Batman. I loved him already. My favorite character, however, is Spider-Man, but I remember just watching it and just being in awe, just 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 loving it. It had even the
Yeah.
soundtrack with Prince and black and white, red
Oh
and
man.
green, stuff
Yo,
like
I've
that.
got that soundtrack, the
Man,
Batman's and all
it's a
that.
classic, man.
Yeah,
So
it is.
yeah, I just remember loving that, and it's always left that love for me in my heart. And it's just never left. I don't think there's any movie just nostalgia, and any comic movie at least. It's just nostalgia wise that would pick over that movie, even if that movie isn't as great as like the Infinity War or something like that.
Hmm.
It's just the nostalgia on top of everything else. It just makes it irreplaceable.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you for sure, man. That's
Yeah,
it's some really good stuff out there, man. This and there's sometimes there's I can't see it all.
yeah,
It's like it's like somebody said to me the other day. It's like what you play a lot of games stuff because I haven't really seen you on Game Pass in a while, and I'm like,
yeah.
well, yeah, and I do have Game Pass. I love it,
Hmm.
but the last 2 months,
Yeah, yeah.
I have been playing PSO, Fantasy Star
Online.
Online,
Yeah.
the Blueburst, which is PC version, on a
Hmm.
private server with my son because we used to love playing it on the GameCube and all that stuff when it came out.
Nice.
And that we just been we I mean it's old, 20 years old.
Hmm.
But I'm having more fun with that than I
And
have some of the
anything
new
else.
stuff coming out just because it's simplistic but it's fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
No,
Silly as that
sometimes
sounds.
that's how it is. I don't think it's silly at all, brother. Because
Yeah.
sometimes the attachments that we get to things, you know, be it nostalgia,
Yeah.
or be it just something that you can always come back to.
Yeah.
No matter how old it is, gaming. Like
Hmm.
if I go back right now and play some old Mario
Oh yeah.
Brothers, the original, I'm never going to
Hmm.
be like, this feels outdated or whatever. It's a classic game. It's just something you can always go back to. And
Yeah.
some games are better than others at really capturing your heart like that. Like
Yeah.
I would go back and play some Shenmue or something like that. But
Ooh,
those
love it.
controls are way out of date compared to today's
Yes.
standards. But it's just something that's just there. It's something that's ingrained into you. Some games it's always going to hit you stronger and deeper than others in many ways like that. So no, that's fine. I yeah, I need to get through my backlog. Speaking of which, so
Yeah.
yeah, I look at all these
Um,
games and people are like, oh, I don't have anything to play, and like, well, I have everything to play. 'Cause-
yeah, I'm right there with you.
yeah,
Yeah, got too much to play. There's no
yeah,
time for
I
all of it, but
swear, this is
play what you
backlog
can.
season. Absolutely.
I played with my son last night. We played PSO for 6 hours.
Oh yeah, that's that's the
Yeah.
beauty of it. Yes,
Yep.
sometimes when you're so entrenched into it like that, time flies. You'll be
Yeah.
surprised about it. Yeah, I
Uh,
feel you. I've been that way with tons of games. Heck, when we have our community nights and such like that, we'll be on 7 hours, and I'm like, man, what time is it? Oh, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Let me go lay down. You know?
yeah. Let me take a
Yeah,
nap.
exactly. And this is what people would crazy different time zones. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
yes.
yeah, so when I'm playing this with some of our Australian brothers, it's like two, whatever, 3 o'clock for me, and it's maybe like 4 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that was the interesting about interviewing both Risket and Doom Cutie is
yeah,
the 13-hour difference.
yeah. I call them the future people.
Yeah, I've heard you call them that before.
Yeah,
Uh, and it's great because it's like when your show Risket's show airs, it's like, well, that's
yeah,
Friday night. That's a great good time to get on and to watch, and that's when you get on with them. But
yeah.
for them, it's like, well, this is a Saturday morning podcast for them.
Right.
It's kind of funny to think, but it works.
Yeah,
So why not? You
yeah,
know,
yeah. That's
that's what's
crazy.
it is. It's great though.
Saturday morning for them, and it's like literally 8 o'clock Eastern here in America.
Yeah.
That's just a crazy time difference.
Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, on a side question, just kind of popped up. We were talking about movies, and let's talk about movies and games real quick. So,
hmm
what I guess your favorite adaptation of a video game to a movie, or is there one? Because some of them are bad, some of them are good.
most bad.
Most bad.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
most have been bad. Yeah. Let me think on that. Uh, let me think, because there are so many over time where you look back and like, nah, because I still think about the Mario Brothers movie with John Leguizamo, and you remember that?
Yes. Oh, well,
That
we had one of my real good friends growing up, Dave
yeah.
Snyder. We've interviewed him on my other podcast
hmm
several times, and he's a special effects makeup artist.
Yeah.
His first gig in Hollywood when he went out there, his first thing he ever did was he airbrushed and painted the Yoshi that makes a little scene in that movie. That was his first ever
Wow.
credit for a movie, was that he painted the Yoshi skin because they couldn't get anybody to get it right. So he was good with airbrushing. So he went in and did that. And it's like, so I have a little tie into that. As funny as
that's
that is.
that's pretty dope right there.
But yeah. And
If
that's
if
you
any,
said
I would have to say, I think I think many people will probably agree. But I remember hearing this on the radio when it was first announced,
hmm
and it's going to call back to everybody, and it was like Mortal Kombat. Dun, dun,
yes.
dun, 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 dun. And they announced it. I'm like, they have a Mortal Kombat movie coming out.
Yep.
I remember Dave going to the theaters to see that. I wasn't old enough to go by myself, so I had to try to convince somebody old enough to go with me, and it was my uncle.
Right.
And he could not make it, so I bought a ticket for another movie and snuck into the theater to see that.
There you go. Was
And
it?
I loved it, man. And I had to go back and see it twice. So I snuck in again to see something else. Give me 1 second because we
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah, yeah.
background noise.
It
Okay,
happens. It
there it
happens.
is.
But like,
There it is. There you go.
yeah.
Get down here. Yeah.
Oh goodness.
And I remember seeing that, and I was just like, yeah, this is it. And I don't think there's been a better video game to movie adaptation than Mortal Kombat. And that's kind of sad to say.
Well, yeah,
I
yeah,
guess it's kind of sad. It's been since the 90s, but that is, I love that movie, man. Flaws and all, still
right.
cheesy and all, I still love that
Yep,
movie to this day. Some of the craziest 90s one-liners and all that in it, you
yep,
know,
yeah.
action and such. But it's just, it's beloved to me. And the
Yes,
soundtrack was crazy too.
I agree, man. I Silent Hill was
Mm,
some people. I really enjoyed it. I loved it because to me it had the sound of it. The artist that did the game was also consultant for the movie,
yeah.
so it had a lot of the look and the element and the grittiness of the game. I
hmm
thought, um, and when we saw it at the midnight screening when it first came out. Me and a bunch of crew from GameStop when I worked there, and when we got out the midnight showing or whatever got out, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
Yeah.
And we stepped outside, and the entire parking lot was covered in this intense fog. You couldn't
Oh.
see 10 feet in front of you. And it was like, are you fucking kidding me? It was like, and one of my employees, he just was like, that's it, I'm going. And he takes off running to his car. And in like I said, 10 feet, and he was couldn't see him.
Yeah.
Nothing. You turn on your headlights in the parking lot, and we were standing on the curb, couldn't see the headlights on. That's how intensely thick it was. It
Wow.
was insane. I wish I'd thought to take a picture at the time, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But it was just like the most bizarre thing. And we were all just like, no, what's going on? You
That's
know?
funny, man. It reminds me of a time I took this girl to see what was the name of that movie? Horror movie. And I'm not even the biggest fan of horror movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I went to go see, it was a Japanese movie, I think, and they brought it over here. It's with that
The Grudge?
The Grudge. Was it The Grudge? Wait. Not was it The Grudge, or yeah, it was The Grudge, because that's what that cat boy, right? And he's like,
Yeah. Yes.
it
Sarah
was The
Michelle Gellar was the
Grudge.
US version. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was so crazy. I went to go see that with her. I'm not even the biggest horror movie buff. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
not. Because I'm like, I don't want to sit here being nervous and scared about something and then looking over my shoulder every 2 seconds. Like, what did I just see something? And saw that movie, creepy as all hell.
Oh, yeah.
And if you remember on that movie, they had a part where she was going up the elevator and
Mm-hmm.
the cat boy kept getting closer and closer to the elevator as she was going up.
Mm-hmm.
And she could see through the little cut hole in the elevator, right?
Yeah.
At the time, I had an apartment up north here in Chicago, really nice place,
Mm-hmm.
and it had a diamond cutout elevator just like that.
Oh, goodness.
And I remember, I was going home, I dropped her off, and I cut through the alleyway, which is like right to my house after that, like maybe not even half a block, maybe
Mm-hmm.
a small little walk. Tell me why the lights were flickering off and on in the alleyway. It was like, why is this happening? And I remember,
Oh,
because
goodness.
we're idiots. We'll be like, I hope nobody's out here, like that's
Yeah.
gonna make them leave or something.
Say it nice and loud, right?
Right? So I'm like, I hope nobody's out here. And I just run through the alleyway to get to my front door. I get to the front door, I go up in there, and then I look at the elevator. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, no, I forgot I have this type of elevator.
I love it.
And I'm on an elevator and I'm going up, and on the floors, it's late at night now. So it's it's darker in the hallways because there's no light shining through the windows in any hallway.
Right.
And it's dim, and the carpet was already like a burgundy color. So it was already in a terrible looking setting. And I remember looking through the peephole one time, like, nah, this can't be happening. I didn't want to look anymore. I get to my floor, ding, elevator opens up. I peek out the elevator to look. Quiet, like so quiet you can hear a pin drop. And I'm just like terrified. I'm like, this should not be happening. I'm a grown man. This is ridiculous. I step out the elevator, brother. I get to my apartment. I open it nervously. Why did I have all my lights off? Pitch black in my place. I'm like, I run and flick the switch on and flick my light on. I'm just being a cowardly cat all over the place. I get that light on, and I'm like, I'm not staying here tonight. I'm going to my family's place. Skip this. I need to be around people.
That's
I need
so
a
funny.
palate cleanser. Yeah. So I'm packing up my game system. I think I was packing
Yeah.
up the Xbox 360 or something at the time or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm throwing it in my duffel bag. I'm getting ready. Tell me why. As I'm doing that and I bend over to grab my bag, somebody walks past my open door like something out of a movie where done, and somebody walks past.
Right.
So I'm bending down to get it, and I just see the shadow of somebody walk past the outside of my door. My heart nearly jumped right out of my chest.
Oh,
And I was like, it's like one thing after the next, I'm like, I'm not going to see any horror movies ever again.
You were done.
I was done. And I don't watch them like that anymore. I will probably watch it if I'm with a group of people or something, like a family.
Yeah.
But I will not sit here at home and be like, yeah, let me put on some of this crazy psychological, demonic movie. I'm not doing it. I'm just
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm a chicken.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
That's so funny. Now, did you have to leave the house after that?
I got out of there.
Did you?
I tiptoed out to look and see who that was that passed me, and it
Yeah.
was just a guy by the elevator. I'm like, I'm not getting on that elevator with you. So I let him get on. I stepped out, locked my door, and got the elevator going down after it returned, and I was out of there. And I was
Did you
just
make those announcements? Yeah.
yeah.
You need to stay in the darkness. I'm going to the elevator. Don't you? I know you're there.
That time I couldn't do it because now I'm too enclosed. Now in my mind, I'm like,
Uh,
yeah. Now if I say it out loud, it will get me, versus in the open, right? So I get out of there, man. I get in the ride, catch me a ride over to the family house, and I was just so relieved.
oh
I
man.
just remember playing some games. I don't know what I played, rock band or something. I don't know.
Baby, what'd you come home for? I missed you, Mama.
Right.
Missed you cooking. Fixed me
Oh yeah.
breakfast.
You make
That's
some. You
it.
made something to eat. Yeah.
I was out with a crazy girl last night. I ain't going out with her again. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. That's too funny. That's too
Yeah.
funny. Well, I tell you, the conversation goes any which way here, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
And I
Oh
love
yeah.
it. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for sharing, man. This is awesome. Let's kind of turn things a little bit and get into a little bit about, I guess, some of the, I guess, what are your, how can I say this? Um, we're going to talk gaming. I'll
Hmm.
say that right now. Let's talk about, I guess, a game that's coming out,
Hmm.
and it could be more than one because most people give me more than one.
Yeah.
That you're most looking forward to, that hasn't been, that has been announced. Not known like insider type stuff.
Right.
But like, what's something you're most looking forward to in gaming right now?
For this year, we still have the Plague Tales Requiem. I'm excited as hell for that. I think that's going to be great. It looks, and it's hard to believe this because Asobo, as great as the studios they are, I thought the double A work they did with the first game was just spectacular. That
Right,
game
it's a
came out
beautiful
looking
game.
really good. Yeah, it did. And this new one looks even better. So, and it looks like they added more depth to the combat and things of that nature. So I'm really excited for that. A lot of people have kind of derided it, but I'm actually kind of excited for Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
I don't think they've done the best in showcasing it, but I think that that studio is a solid studio overall.
Hmm.
And from things I've seen, I can see some inner greatness there.
Oh yeah.
I think as long as they deliver it as polished and there's no major bugginess, I think it'll turn out to be a great game. And I'm obviously see I play on everything, right? One thing I will
Hmm.
pride myself on, like I prefer Xbox. I love Xbox, but I do also have a PlayStation. So I am excited as well for God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Um, and but the thing is like, and I had to tell this to people. I said, listen, I'm excited as hell for God of War Ragnarok, but I refuse to pay $70 for a game. I just refuse.
Yeah.
And this is me saying this, being an idiot that pays scalpers both for my PS5 and my Xbox Series X,
Oh
way over
goodness.
what they should have been, like 200 and or 300 for each one over.
Ooh.
And I'm like, I'm not paying $70. So some people call me out like, how did you pay that much, but you don't want to pay for $70 games? I'm like, listen, I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but I'm
Yeah.
not doing it. So
Well,
I'm
no, it
like,
does make sense. It does
I'm
make sense.
man, I'm like, I'm gonna do some crowdfunding for $10 extra, and I'll pay the rest. But
We'll
yeah,
put that link in the description below.
there you go. Put out the cash app. But yeah, I'm excited for God of War Ragnarok. I think that'll be great. And next year, man, we're gonna have Callisto Protocol too. I'll throw that out
Oh
there for this
yes.
year. For next
Now
year,
that's another scary game.
it is. Now I'll make an exception for playing the scary games here and there,
Okay.
but like the ones I'll avoid are the ones that's like the PT, for instance, something that's in that vein. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to deal with some crazy creature thing jumping out of the shadow. I'm just not doing that.
Yeah.
If I have some control with a weapon like a Resident Evil, yeah, okay, I'll do that. But
Right.
if or even with the Callisto Protocol, I can fight off those nasty aliens and such. Yeah,
That's
or
so funny.
organisms. But if it's some psychological type thing, sign me out. I'm just not doing it. I swear I'm not doing it.
Oh goodness.
Um, But yeah, as far as next year though, that's where we're going to have another golden age of gaming right there.
Yeah, we
And
are.
and people are like, oh, we have delays, but how do you know it's not going to be delayed next year? I don't know, and I'm sure there are going to be some delays, whether it's actually because the devs needed more time, or because they're going to have to be forced to push some of these games back because they're going to be stacked on each other. You know,
Bottleneck, right?
yeah, it's going to be bottleneck, and I think February is particularly stacked. So, I mean, we got so much crazy stuff coming, man. I'm excited for Redfall, really, really excited for that, and that's impressed me more and more. And this was a game where I saw it at first and was like, nah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, no, this actually looks really, really good. And I should not have doubted them because Arcane is a great studio. I don't know why I doubted them anyway. It was just foolish to do so. And of course, Starfield. And then when it comes out, I'm going to, I'm like the whole community night thing, that's gone. There is no community night once that releases. I
Yeah.
am going to be engulfed into that world. I promise that. That's going to get at least a couple hundred, if not 1,000 hours out of me.
I will be playing that as well.
Yeah,
Looking forward to that.
super excited. What about you though for this year? What's the most excited?
Man, it's kind of tough. As far as, this year's stuff coming out,
Yeah.
um, I, you know, I yeah, I really haven't turned the question on myself. So, probably play some more PSO. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I'm just playing. I'm playing.
What are you a big fan of, like the modern warfare games, like Call of
Y-
Duty and such?
I haven't been in a while,
Yeah.
but the whole acquisition thing and this new one,
Hmm.
um, it's got my interest up,
I agree.
and I really think I'm gonna jump into it and try it out. I mean,
Yeah.
I loved Halo.
Mm.
When I beat Halo Infinite on single
Yeah.
player, and I was just like, yeah, it
Yeah.
was. I'm glad they put it out now. I know all the stuff about they rushed this, but I was happy with what they got out. And do I
I
love
agree.
rather play co-op? I'll be glad when the co-op part is officially released and we can get in there
Absolutely.
and play with my son. We can go through
Oh,
the,
you'll love it,
you
man.
know,
You'll love it.
but
Do you guys betray each other? Because when I played with Risk Jedi and Doom Duty,
well,
we
my son
betrayed each
doesn't
other.
usually betray me, but
Okay.
just saying.
We were destroying each other left and right instead of doing missions. It was hilarious, but it was
That is
fun.
funny.
All fun as hell. But
Right.
I love the campaign for Infinite 2. I'm with you 100%. I played it on Legendary all the way through, and it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. I was happy that it was tough. I wouldn't put it on the Halo 2 level tough. Halo 2 level Legendary is just ridiculous, but it
Yeah.
was tough. It was challenging, and it was fun. I had some things I wish they would have done, like cinematically, but other than
Hmm.
that, I loved it, man. So I'm with you on that. But the good thing is, it's like you said, you can afford to wait for this modern warfare and Call of Duties because it's going to be on Game Pass by next year.
I know it.
It's going
That's
to be there,
amazing.
and they're probably going to bring the other ones into the fold by next year sometime. So it's going to be a crazy year, I think, again next year. Even if it's not new releases, it's going to be something like that where we're going to have all access to all these games. I missed out on a lot of Call of Duties because Halo has always been my favorite franchise,
Hmm.
and Call of Duty, the campaigns are solid, a lot of them, but I do not care for this to multiplayer of Call of Duty. The Twitch style shooting is just too much for me. Maybe I'm too old. I don't know.
Well, you're not this old. Just saying. I just saying for that.
Back in my day,
Yeah, back in my day,
Quake and
when
Doom.
Pong meant something.
Right.
Oh,
Now you whippersnappers are running across walls with your
exactly.
little wires and the little grapple hooks.
Yeah,
Should be
yeah, well,
ashamed of
yeah.
yourself.
Christmas morning when I got this,
Yeah,
the Atari 2600,
there you
I
go.
loved it. And then Adventure was that's my jam.
There you
And
go.
then when you
What
found
about
out,
Pitfall?
well, oh yeah, but Adventure, when they talked about that there was like a Easter egg,
Yeah.
something you could do extra. I'm like, what is this? Man, that I was on the mission to get that, and when I finally did, and saw that little silly ending thing, with the credits, the guy's
Yeah.
name come up,
Yeah.
I've done it 1,000 times since then, just because it's like every
Yeah.
now and again I'll put it in and be like, boop, you know, Ready Player One, the book came out, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, man.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so
I hope they make
awesome.
another Ready Player. By the way, I hope they have a sequel to that.
Well, they Ready Player Two, the novel is out,
Yeah.
so
Oh, they
I
already had
haven't.
it. Oh, they got the novel out already.
Yes, yeah, it's out.
Oh,
It's even an
okay.
audio book. Yeah, because
All we
I'm
need
a
is
big fan.
Spielberg to step back up to the plate.
Yeah,
You know.
and the thing and the thing about that, I mean, the book to me was so much better
Yeah.
because there was a lot of licensing and stuff that he couldn't get done.
Mm.
You know, to me, when they had Ultraman,
Hmm.
big fan of Ultraman,
Yeah.
in the
Ultraman.
book, exactly. Yeah, yeah, and of course they couldn't get it for this, you know, for the movie. Where Toho
Mhm.
wouldn't let you know, those
Use it.
things like Godzilla and all that stuff, you know,
Yeah.
make cameos and stuff, which is a shame they couldn't have worked that out. But you
Yeah.
know, it is what it is. But it was still really neat, and I thought that you know, was it as good as a book? No, but it was a good movie, and
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'd like him to do another one, especially if you get a chance to read the new book. It
Absolutely.
it's good.
I'm gonna
So
have to get my hand
so
to.
I guess
Gonna have to
kind
put
of
that on my list. Yeah.
there you go, there you go. To kind of wrap things up. Excuse me, sorry about that. Caught my throat there, a little dry.
You good? You good?
We're going. I guess let's kind of get where people can find you, what all podcasts that you're on, when those airs, so that we can let people get to know you even better.
Yeah. You guys, if anybody watching us here, I hope you all are tuning into this by the time it airs. You can find me
Mhm.
on Twitter, of course, and such under Umbra Infinite or Infinite Umbra. You will find me either way. On Xbox, you can find me under Super Havoc. PlayStation is Super Havoc with an underscore in between the Super and the Havoc. But I will never probably ever play any multiplayer games with you there, unfortunately. It's just for my single player games with their
That's funny.
exclusives. That's it. And maybe Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know. Maybe.
Love
Yeah.
that game.
Yeah, it's a great game. Beautiful. And man, I saw it on this OLED and I was like, sheesh,
Yeah.
this game is gorgeous. But as well as you all can find me on my original podcast, the Xbox Infinite podcast, which yes, I believe was named after me, no matter what Riskit would say, and the
So
Xbox
funny.
Factor podcast with Boomstick XL and other great panelists and such. And you all should definitely tune into both of those. We'd love to have you all come in and watch us. And yeah, brother, man. And if, of course, like I said, with my Xbox handle, you all can feel free to hit me up if you all are great, like-minded, peaceful, game-loving people. Join
There
in
you
with
go.
us. We have game community nights every weekend and such like that, and we would love to have you come in and I guess teabag you in Halo after we kill you.
And then he'll serenade you about
Exactly. I will serenade you, you
it.
know, so but absolutely come through sometime and we would love to have you there. And I appreciate you, brother, for having me on here to just to chop it up with you and get to learn you a bit and you get to learn me. I really
Definitely,
appreciate it.
definitely. Umber, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being here today. I really do mean that. And
Absolutely.
also would like to let everybody know that they can find us here at with Outbreak Podcast is our website outbreakpodcast.com is where you can find us with that. And then of course you can also find us in our Twitter as well, and I'll have all those links in description down below. And I've got over 30 interviews up now, and more coming all the time. Lots of more great, interesting community members to get on here. And thanks again for everybody watching us here at Outbreak Gamers.